Hello. So today I'm going to be painting this one that I call Tulips in Blue Boots. So what you'll need to do right now is there is a piece of paper in there that looks like this. Okay. And this is definitely what you're not painting on. This is just so you can do a transfer, okay, of it. What you're going to be doing is you're going to take your pencil and you're going to sharpen it. And then wherever there is something on this side, you're going to scribble on the other side. So you're going to take your pencil, hopefully it's sharp, and then just go all over the back of it. And many of you have already done this, but I usually do it really hard. Okay. Then once you get the whole thing covered on the other side, you're going to take the little piece of tape that I gave you. It's on your, it's located on the, come on, brain, on the blah. Can't think of what I'm trying to say. It's located on the paints. There you go. So once I have mine completely all over, you can even see, see, like that. If I were to hold it up, you're going to be putting it down, and then you're going to take your ballpoint pen. It could be red, it could be purple, but don't use the micron pen or the white pen. And then you're going to press fairly hard and you're going to get everything down. And once you're done, you will lift it up, ta-da, and it will look like this. What you need for class are 2 glasses of water. You will need some paper towels, and you will also need, let's see, a hair dryer. That's a definite must. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because I've got a lot of smudges here, I don't know if you can see this. I'll try and make it so that you can see it a little better. I'm going to go and I'm going to roll around. I'm going to roll around because I don't want to hurt the paper. This is 140 pound. It's Canson or Canon. It's good paper. It's not the best of the best. So you just want to be careful with it. So anyway, it's a little thicker. And I do want to just make sure, I'll just kind of get it off all the little things. I forgot to do a line. So if you want to draw a line at the bottom, you can do that so that you have somewhere to make it look like the boots aren't floating around in midair. Okay, I'm supposed to roll it, but I decided to go back and forth and get up some of those lines. Okay, so I'm going to take you step by step, and let's begin with mixing your colors. You will be using the picture often because I'll say, okay, let's do this petal. All right, that one's drying. Let's go to this one. And we'll jump around from petal to petal. We'll probably start with the green ones. And then after that, we'll do the stems. And then after that, we'll do the petals. We'll do the blue boots, the bottom, and then the little details. So it really won't take that long. But it is important that you have different colored greens. So right now we're going to take a little bit of time to make different green colors. All right, so I have my tray here and you will have all your colors already. So I have them labeled and I have cad yellow here and blue fallow and quinacridone magenta. I don't know if I'm saying that right, and alizarin crimson. You might also have white gouache. That is just in case for mistakes. Sometimes people like to use it. I always give people a little bit of white just in case. Okay. A girl in the last class mixed together the magenta and the phthalo together and made a beautiful purple. But this time I'm not going to use the red. I'm just going to use the magenta because that's what I used for the picture. And I think it'll look really nice. So because I don't have my colors out yet, I'm going to put them in there. Let's see, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. There's my magenta. And I'm just going to do my cad yellow. There's my cad yellow. And here is my blue fellow. It's called Intense Blue, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So open it. Oh, I have to use my teeth. All right, so here's the blue fellow. All right. So during this painting, I just want to remind you not to paint from the pods, because this is just where we keep the color, the bright color. We can put a little bit in here to use it. We can put a little bit in here when we're mixing. Again, we don't paint from the pod, and that's a really important thing to remember. It keeps your colors looking real bright. All right, I have a number 4 that I'm using. I end up using the number 4 or the number 6 most of the time. This one isn't a very big one at all. Okay, so what am I going to do? Well, first of all, I'm going to put a little bit of water on this to get it ready. And sometimes these get dried out, and that's okay. And I'm going to take a little bit of the yellow, and this I'm going to keep plain yellow, nice and bright. Put some water on it. Okay. All right, there's my yellow. And then I'm going to take a little bit of yellow, and I am actually making up some different color greens. So I am putting the yellow in this one with water. Of course, I've got to have lots of water so it's not sticky. Okay. And I'm also going to put some here. So how am I going to get my different greens? Well, that's a good question. Just take a teeny bit of the blue, and that's a beautiful green right there. That is very nice. I can also make an even lighter one if I want to by using less. So it's up to you how much blue you put in it, and that changes the color of the green. I think this one's a beautiful light green. I love it, love it, love it. So I've got yellow, I've got dark green, and then I even want a little bit darker green. So I'm going to use a 4th one here. And that's why I gave you a lot of yellow, so that you can then make a nice dark green. So again, take a little bit of blue and mix it around. And that looks very nice. So 3 different greens. One is a medium. And I've got my lighter one. And I've got my darker one. Once I'm happy with that, that's good. And then clean off my brush again, and I will be using the magenta. I can make a slightly darker magenta too, just a slightly darker magenta if I want to, by adding a little bit of blue. So when I'm working on it, if I just want to put a tiny bit there, you'll see it makes a beautiful purple. I don't want too much. I don't want it to look too dark, but there you go. Now I've got a little bit darker if I ever need to use a darker one. So that's about all I need for now. And then I also need my blue. So I can put it over here if I want. Be careful not to splatter. Let's get some nice water in there. And we'll be doing our boots with that. Okay. If at any time during the painting you feel that your water is getting too dark, too messy, by all means, just go and get some clean water. In fact, that's what I'm going to do right now, because I like to start my painting after I get my colors ready. I like to start my painting with clean water. So I'm going to put you on pause. Okay, I'm back. So one rule of thumb to keep in mind is you want to use your paper towel as much as possible, okay? And you don't leave your paintbrushes in the water. Okay, so what are we going to start with? Well, number one is I'm going to take a little bit thicker brush and make sure it's clean. And then I'm going to go around, I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to do this one, then I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to do this one, because what I'm basically doing is I can't paint things that are next to each other. So I'm going to start with this one and then do this one and then move to this one, you see? And then once this is dry, then I can move on and do this one. And that's how subsequently I'm going to do it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see, maybe even a little bit more. And so starting with this one, I'm going to put some water down, just a little bit, but right up to the edge. I'm going to put the water. And then I'm going to look at my painting and think, looks like there's some dark green here and a little bit of lighter. So I'm going to go right ahead and put the light down. So we really are just sort of repeating this over and over again. And I think it's important that your leaves are not all looking the same. The reason I don't want your leaves to look the same is because that's not how it is in a real world. I mean, they always have different colors, right? Some of them have a little bit of yellow in them and all that other stuff. Plus, if it's flat, it won't look very interesting. So if I hold this up to you now, you can see that it's kind of boring. It's not very exciting. So how do I make it more exciting? Okay, well, I go in and I put in a little bit of darker color, especially along here, because I know that's where there's a shadow. So I'm going to put in a little darker, drag it out a little bit, and then I might even rinse off my brush, and I'm going to use a smaller one now, and take a little bit of the yellow and dab in a little bit of yellow. Sometimes I take the water and I just dab a little bit of water in and watch what happens. It moves it around and it really does make it look pretty. So I need to leave that one alone, but I can go to the one back here. So I'm going to go ahead and go in there, and I'm not going to touch the other one because I could technically touch the edge there, but I'm not going to. And I'm going right through the stem because the stem is darker. So I don't have to worry at all. I can come back afterwards once it's dry and put in my stem. There we go, pulling it out, making it nice and smooth. And now I'm looking at it, and that one is quite a bit, oh, no, it's not that much darker. No, I'm going to leave it. I thought at first it was darker, but it's not. I do notice that it's a little darker on the edge. So I am pushing it just a little bit off to the edge so that it will look like, I don't know, just kind of have a little bit darker edge there. That's what I'm doing. Okay. All right. Got to make that a little smoother. Sometimes I go a little out of the edges, but that's all right. I just got to smooth it out a bit. Now I can't do that one, but I can definitely do this one. So I'm going to do this part first because it looks like I know it's only one leaf, but I am going to put the little bit lighter one on the outside. And then once that dries, I'll go ahead and put the darker part on the inside. But right now I really can't because the two are touching. So I do love that little curve in there, but I don't want to do anything to it just yet. Put a little bit of darker on the outside. So I think that looks really pretty. And it does look like it's curving. So I'm dragging in just a little bit there. All right, now this is the one I can do. I can go in there and I am actually, whoops, looks like I'm using green already. I'm going to go in there, but I'm going to try not to get the stem wet because the stem looks like it was a little lighter. So, I mean, I could paint it if I wanted to, but I don't want to because I want to use the darker one. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in, and I'm being careful. So it's just sort of a nice way of putting the color in where you just, once you get it wet, it just does its own thing. I just love what happens when you put that in there. And look what happened here with when I dropped in some water. So I'm going to drop in some water here too, just to see what happens, and a little here, because it does make for a little bit interesting. But if it's too wet, it won't work. So I'm pulling up a little bit there to see what will happen. Okay, now I can work on this one because it's not touching anything. And there we go, putting it in. And now if I look at what the color is, it looks kind of light. So again, I'm using my lighter color. And if you don't want a lighter one there, if you like your darker, I say go for it. This is yours. You can do whatever you want. This is just a guideline. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just bringing you through the process. And sometimes I even like a little lighter stuff in there. I'm going to throw in a little bit of lighter. I don't want it to look dead, but I also want it to look like, oh, it's got something going on there, you know? All right, so if I go back here and feel it, it's feeling pretty dry, that one right there. So I'm just going to go in, and I didn't even pre-wet it. I'm just so crazy. Sometimes I don't, especially if it's dark. So I'm going in, and I'm putting in that darker color. Plus, it'll look really pretty next to the other one. So yeah, put in that color. And I'm going to add a little bit of lighter right up here because that'll look pretty as it drips down. And now, is this one dry enough? I don't know. I'm a little worried. Well, I'm going to try it. Here we go. I'm going in, you guys. I'm going in. I really should dry it. But if you feel a little bit more comfortable about drying each one, like between it, I would do it. But what I'm doing is I'm just going real close by it. And I feel like with this kind of paper, it's drying pretty quickly. So I'm going to put in a darker edge and pull it up. Okay. If I'm going too fast, of course, you can slow it down. My gosh, I haven't even used my real light color yet, and I don't know why. I made all these different colors, and I haven't even used my lighter color, so I'm going to throw in a little of that. It'll look pretty. All these greens. Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. Okay, now this is dried. I can go ahead and go in there with that darker one, and it looks real dark right here. I could even add a little bit more blue if I want, just a tiny bit, and see what happens to make it darker. And that is the curl on the thing. Okay. I didn't pre-wet again. I guess sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. I should be able to tell you when I do and when I don't, but I guess I pre-wet mostly when I want some funky things to happen. So I am going to take a little bit of blue and put it in there, because even though it's green, you do see a little bit of blue too. There it is, getting that in there. Get it as dark as I can to make it look deep. And I'm just kind of pushing it. Okay. I know it's hard to see with the glare, so I'm going to pick it up. And if I want it to look a little lighter up top, I can put some water and just push it down. That's what I'm doing. I'm pushing it. See? Yeah. It's kind of crazy that you can make it look like it's got that going on. All right. Here, I'm going to look at my picture, and I see again that I have to be careful right around here. So I'm going to go in and get that nice green in there. Again, you can always mix even another green if you want. If this is not the green you like, by all means, put another little bit of color in it. Okay, I like that. I like the fact that I got that in there. Okay, one thing I'm going to cover up, I noticed at the end last time, I had a little tiny hole right here. So I filled it in with green. I thought it was weird to have that hole there. I didn't like it. And this is still wet, so I can make it darker here. And then what else do I want to do? Well, good enough. Okay. Pull in a little bit of that. Pull it in a little bit. Da, 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 da. All right. So now what I want to do, if I did dry it, it's too wet, it would all just splatter. So if I'm going to dry it, I'm going to want to put it on a very low setting. But if I look here, I know I have to put in some stems. So I'm going in and putting in the stems right now. Of course, you don't have to use just green. You could use slightly different color. You could even make it look a little brown. There we go. Got that in there. This one. And then I'm going to pull this one down. And believe me, they always come out differently. Every single time I do this, they look differently. I can't work on that because it's still wet. So I'm going to put you guys on pause, and I am going to do a little blow drying on my low setting. Okay, so it's dry now, and I can put my hand on it so you see how dry it is. So what I'm going to do now with my clean water is I am going to go and do one here, little here, one here, one here, and I'm going to go around to get each one of them done, because again, if I wait till for it to dry, then I can do the next one. So I'm going to zoom in a bit here so you can see what I'm doing. I am getting it wet, and I'm starting with this one, and I'm going over there to the pink, and I'm putting the darker part on the bottom, and then I rinse it off a little bit and bring that up just ever so lightly. The difference in the petals, it'll just look so pretty. And I think it looks better when the bottom of them are darker, you know. It just looks like that's where all the color is coming from, emanating from. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Now I'm going to leave that one, and I'm going to move on to the next one. I was naughty. I did not pre-wet that. So I'm going to go in, and this one to me looks like I can do one, and I'm going to leave it one and done. I'm going to go here. I did not pre-wet that either. And I can just paint in that area, but it is flat, so I don't like that. So because it's flat, I can rinse off my brush and go in there and pull back a little bit. That's what I'm doing. I'm pushing it, and putting a little bit darker right there on the bottom, and that'll look pretty. Yeah, that'll look good. All right, now I'm going to go over here. I'm pre-wetting it. Okay, I guess it's not the end of the world if you don't. And I am getting the dark part at the bottom. Rinse off your brush, and you can move the stuff around a little bit if you don't want it that dark. If you feel that you've put too much on, go ahead and rinse off your brush, and then just use it as a mop and just push some of that back. It'll look real pretty. I even do, sometimes I drop a little bit of water on it too. Okay, I'm going to go over here, get a little bit in there. And while I'm at it, I did notice that I can do the one on the other side, you know, because there was so many petals there. All right, now this one I did look at the picture and this one's very light. So I am putting in water and drawing out the color. There. Just clean off your brush and I will zoom in so you can see I'm putting in the color. Well, I'm actually pulling it out. There it is, pulling it out. And then just putting an extra little amount down on the bottom. All right, so I can go over here and do this one now. All right, I'm going to go in there, put a little in. So the petals are quite easy, especially since you're waiting for each one of them to dry. And that way you don't mess it up, you know. Let me go over here and get this one. Okay, I'm actually going to have to put some water over here. I'm running out of my, it's looking a little sticky. Okay. You can make it, you know, putting a little line right there, and that'll look real pretty. Lighter as it goes up. Okay, so I am bouncing around a little bit, just so you know. I kind of go to see which ones have dried already and which ones I want to spend more time on. So put a little water in there and push that back. There. This guy is very light on the inside. Some are light on the inside and some are dark on the outside. Just it just kind of depends on what you want to do. You know? Okay. This is very light here too. Oh, I think I forgot this one. I know I did. I completely forgot that that one was there. All right, so I'm going to go over here, put this in, and this is again, looks like it's curved. So if I make this one lighter, then the inside can be darker. So I don't know if I can get that effect, but I'll try. All right. And then this one is on the outside, like that. All right, and then this one comes up. I'm not even looking at my picture, but I should, because I know the picture's beautiful too, but you know what? I want it to turn out differently. So that's important to do too, make it your own. Okay. Only thing that I have to redo this one because it looked a little goofy. So I will bring it down there like that. All right. This here, let's see if I can get a little darker in there. I do prefer to use the smaller brush with the better tip. It just makes it look so much prettier. Okay. And I am putting two together. I just told you not to, but as long as they're really not touching, barely touching. And so I can do that. So I kind of been lying to you. I always say, oh, don't do them because they're touching. But you know what? Sometimes you can. If it gets muddy, you'll know. If it gets out of control, you'll be like, whoops, I gotta let that dry. That's not gonna work. All right. So I'm going in, putting in another layer. I'm kind of thinking I want a slightly different color here because they were looking too similar. So I ended up putting a little bit darker in there. And then again, I'm going to get a little darker in here. Okay, I hope that during this video, I never looked up, that you saw what I was doing. because when I'm in a class, people can holler at me and say, I can't see what you're doing. And then I'm like, oh, sorry. So I have a feeling that I might have been painting and you couldn't see what I was doing. So I do apologize. You know, plus I don't edit these. So whatever happens, happens. It's sort of a free for all, you know? So again, I'm going in there with a slightly lighter color, cleaning off my brush and lifting. There. So I feel like I've got enough movement in there. And you know what I did? I forgot to do, oh, that's why they were wet last time. That's it. I was like, why would I forget to do the stems? So here we go. Here's one stem here. One stem here. Well, ended up being darker, but that's all right. And one stem here. I completely forgot about doing a stem. Just kind of going in and changing the colors of the stems because I felt like they looked a little bit blah. Yeah, I should have kept that one lighter, but that's all right. Such is life. C'est la vie, as they say in French. There we go. Okay, so now what are we going to do? Well, this is the exciting part, guys. We are going to do the boots. So I'm going to get this back boot wet. Just that part. Then I'm going to take my blue and put it in. Woo, that looks crazy. Crazy dark, huh? So I am going to make sure that right against the other boot, I have a nice layer. Under the leaf, I'm going to make it nice and dark. I am using a bigger brush this time just because it gives me more coverage. You can make it nice and dark. Okay, so I've made it nice and dark, but now I'm going to go in and lift it. So I'm going to clean off my brush, and then I'm going to go in and just take it and lift it. Take it, put a little bit of water on it, and drag it down. It just gives it a nice, I don't know, rubber boot look, I guess. There we go. And I'm keeping it dark right against there. Okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to dry this up and we're going to do the same thing to the other boot. So I'm going to put you on pause. All right, so I'm going to get the next part wet here and go ahead and get it nice and wet. Remember to go under. Water, water, water. Obviously, it's a little bit blue. And now I'm going to take my blue and go ahead and saturate it. All right. All right. When you're done saturating it completely, clean off your brush. Okay. Even got underneath here. It's completely blue and gorgeous. Now I'm cleaning off my brush and I'm drying it off a little bit. And now I'm going in and removing some of it. Put a little bit extra water on there. And then I'm just going in and pulling it off. Go right up to the boot line, right in there, underneath here, pulling it off. Gives a lot of movement in the boot too. Oops. I might have to make my line a little smoother on the boot. There. Okay, so I'm going to go in there, pull it up. Oops. Kind of went a little wiggly there. Oh well. Pulling it up. There. Okay. So when you pull it up, you give it sort of a shiny look. It's like when you take off the color, you make it look like it's shiny. Give it some dimension there. All right, I'm gonna put it a little darker right here around the ankle. Make it look a little different and put a little bit extra on top of the toe. There. I think you can see that it looks like it's got a little bit of movement in it. All right, so once I'm done with that, I'm going to dry it up again. And then we're going to put the yellow in, and then we'll do the bottom part. So I'm going to put you on pause again. All right, I'm back and it's dry. So what am I going to do now? Well, I'm going to take my yellow. I'm really going to have to clean off my brush though, because I want this yellow to be real nice and bright. So I am getting it just, I'm not even going to put the, not going to put the any wet water down. I'm just going to go straight onto the dry paper. I think the yellow complements the blue very nicely. Super cute. There we go. Put the little edges in. And then there's that little part at the top here. I guess, there you go. Put it in there, and then I'm going to take my pen when it's dry and deal with it. So I am going to blow dry it again. Okay, so once you're pretty sure that it's dry, there should be a micron pen in there. So when you know it's dry, otherwise this doesn't work, you can go ahead and put, I like to draw in the boot lines, and then you can also put in what does it say on the boot? It almost looks like there's like a line yeah, there it is. So there's the line. It goes all the way across and all the way. It looks like it kind of goes up there and up here. I mean, I guess you don't have to do that, you know. All right, I'm gonna put in a line here on the boot. Good enough. And now I'm going to do the bottom part. So I need to get it wet and go across. It looks like it's kind of blue, but I don't know what color I want there yet. If you could get your salt nearby, you could make it look like mud. And you don't dry it with a hairdryer though, you just let it dry naturally. So if you want it to look a little muddy, we could come up with some colors, right? I guess we just mix all the colors together if we want to get sort of a muddy color, because that's what brown is. So I'm just taking my green and my blue and my yellow. And I'm just going to make something that looks sort of like this. Doesn't look very pretty, but it's not like I'm using very much of it though either. I'm just going across and then putting it in there, and then I'm going to sprinkle some salt on it. And when I sprinkle salt, it'll make it look kind of cool. I'll actually show you a picture of what it looks like when you sprinkle salt on it. Okay. I always think it looks better if you put a little dark on the side. So it almost gives it the appearance of having like a shadow. So here it is, putting in some, moving it around a little. And now I'm going to go get my salt. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm taking a little bit of salt and sprinkling it right at the bottom. Now what will happen is it'll disperse the color. It'll look like sort of muddy maybe. We'll see. And I'll show you what mine turned out to be from the last class if I can find it. Where did it go? Well, of course, I had it right here. Oh, here it is. Ta-da! All right, so at the end, it ended up really moving it around. So I just took, once it was dry, I took my paper towel and rinsed it off. So I used a different color here, you'll notice. And the first time I did it, where's the original one? I've just used different ones every time, you know? That's what I end up doing. I don't know. Let's see if I have the original here. Oh, well, got that one. What did I do with the original one? Well, what did I do with it? Oh, come on, Joan. It's got to be here somewhere. Well, I know I showed it last night. It's weird. Oh, well. Okay, so I splattered on it. No big deal. I'm going to let that dry. We'll see what happens. Who knows? I don't know. And then I'll take the, I can sign it right here at the bottom somewhere. Make sure you put the date because you'll forget when you did it. And yeah, that's it. I will send out, I'm actually working on a beautiful color this time. Not a color. I'm working on a sunflower for the next class. Okay, guys. Thank you. Bye.